Year 8 Season 1 PTS developer notes posted just now, 19 minutes ago. Hello agents, we're almost ready for Year 8 and we would like to thank everyone who joined our Year 8 Season 1 Rise Up PTS last weekend. We noticed a significant increase in the number of participant players, and thanks to that, we have now a higher amount of data to analyse and much more feedback to read. Again, it's about the feedback. Thank you for taking the time to play it and engaging in discussions about it. We have a very packed season ahead, and the PTS was essential to polish the experience and start iterating on long-term features. Here you can find the changes we're making to the game for the launch version you'll be able to play next week. Here we go. Let's see. Escalation of prototype gear. We've carefully read the conversations about prototype gear and we decided to make adjustments based on your feedback. The idea of reducing expertise costs has been present since the early conversations about prototype gear. Unfortunately, those changes didn't make it in time for the PTS and reinforced the sentiment that the max expertise requirements for upgrading to prototype gear were too high. We heard your feedback, and although prototype gear is made to be rare, our PTS version of how you could upgrade or acquire was not reflective of our real intentions for the season's launch. For this reason, we have decided to increase the drop rates for escalation and move forward with our plan to reduce the expertise material costs. So we already knew about the material costs, and they're gonna up the drop rate. Was that drop rates for escalation? So going to increase that. Another aspect of it that didn't make for PTS and won't be available at season launch is the targeted loot. We're exploring some sort of daily targeted loot rotation to arrive soon, but the packed season brought challenges to its implementation and we had to save it for a future update. We hope that when it arrives, we can give players more control over their experience and better reward your time and effort. We spoke about that with Burzy in chat. He was on about that something. Basically confirmed what Burzy was saying now, which is good. We also heard the community feedback about recalibration, and we'll start to explore options to address this feedback in the future. However, as it was not part of the original design to have it with prototype gear, we don't have a timeline for that yet. That's good though. That means they've accepted what we're saying. You want to recalibrate, they're going to explore those options. Finally, following the discussions about the Valve of raids and incursion after the new exotic blueprints added to the Black Tusk retaliation, we decided to add a new reward to them, directly connected to our endgame expansion, prototype cause cash. So, say this again. Following the discussions about the value of raids and incursion after the new exotic blueprints added to Black Tusk retaliation, we decided to add a new reward to them, directly connected to our endgame expansion, prototype cause cash. This cash will be a guaranteed reward for completing Operation Iron Horse, Operation Dark Hours, and Paradise Lost, dropping 2 prototype cores. We hope that this can bring more reasons to play those experiences while we don't add new exclusive rewards. Prototype cores can be used for both upgrading from normal gear to prototype and to level up or reroll augments. So we hope it can grant more resources to veterans looking to craft their prototype gear build. Right now, 2 minds about that. I was hoping for some like exclusive vanity reward or something, but I get where they're going with it. They obviously don't want anything locked behind that content. And prototype cores is going to be a very valuable resource. At the minute, from the PTS, you could only get that from dismantling the prototype gear. So to think if you're doing raids and you're farming raids, then you're going to get 2 per clear. So you can get, essentially, if you're running through Dark Hours in 12 minutes, that's 2 cores per 12 minutes. You've got your prototype farm there for those that enjoy the raids. So it does add value to them. That's for sure. In terms of our community and helping people, they basically not killed it, but unless people want help with commendations and stuff, 2 minds about it, but whatever. It's absolutely minimal, and that's just my personal views. Absolutely, compared to everything else at the minute, do not care. That's great. I've got to wait to farm prototype cores. Prototype gear is designed to push the current endgame further, not replace it, serving as an additional layer for our most dedicated veterans. This system is meant to offer new challenges and rare rewards while giving you something fresh to pursue after 7 years of content. We're committed to continue to iterate on it, and the main reason why we're implementing it during the beginning of year 8 is to have time to polish the best version throughout the year, which is what we've been saying. Like, if people think this is going to release the perfect product, they are really mistaken for a change like this. So looking to improve it as we go. Please keep sharing your thoughts with us as we'll continue to listen to them closely. We're confident in our proposition, but also open to adjusting the route with with you. Valuable feedback, which is important. Valuable feedback. So changes made for Year 8 Season 1 release substantially increased their prototype gear drop rates and escalation, reduced the cost of expertise upgrades. There's going to be a 50% reduction for exotic components. Okay, and 20% reduction for other materials. We mentioned that. We said it might be about 50. So if it's currently 90, that means it's going to be 45 exotic components per piece. Remove the requirement to have fully optimized gear and upgrade into prototype. That's huge. That's really huge. Increase the chance for the third attribute to be maxed out when upgrading to prototype gear, so you get more chance of having... So that's very, very low. So when you upgrade now, you've got a higher chance you're going to have all three God Roll. Normalize prototype gear for raids, incursion, and PvP modes, Dark Zone, and Conflict. Augments will be displayed for these modes. Stats will be set to the lowest number within the prototype range. Well, I'm guessing they'll be displayed, but it's going to be normalized, right? So they're not going to work. Added prototype core caches as rewards for raids and incursion. Each cache grants 2 prototype cores. The more I think about that, that's going to make me raid more, to be honest with you. I do like that the more I think about it. It would still be nice to have something additional, though, like an outfit or something. But that doesn't mean they can never do that. Additions planned for the future: daily targeted loot and escalation, and prototype gear recalibration or equivalent. So by recalibration, I'm taking that as a whole recalibration and optimizing. That I'm taking that as a whole. If people are thinking, well, what about optimizing? I'm reading that as, yeah. Seasonal gear and seasonal modifiers. The PTS provided enough data to us to identify a possible issue where the way players would level up their active modifiers and craft their modifiers build. In some scenarios, people could get more stacks than intended by ignoring some active modifiers and intentionally not leveling them up, which was changed and fixed with the new version. For the inner core chest piece, we buffed it a little bit to be in line with the current meta and keep it viable and relevant option for the community. Changes made for Year 8 Season 1 release: new gear, core strength, gear set, inner core chest piece adjusted the talent from 40 to 60 and 40 to 75. And then seasonal modifiers adjusted the initial number of stacks per module from 10 to 8. Adjusted the progression of active modifiers to 1 stack per level gained. Each level gained grants 1 stack to offense, defense, and utility modules at the same time. In total, players can get 12 more stacks by leveling up all 3 active modifiers, reaching a total of 20 stacks per module. We could get super high stacks, especially when you think it's skill damage. I think we got skill damage and weapon handling to over 50%. So I'm guessing that's what they kind of mean by that. I don't know, and could you get it higher? Okay. Obviously a lot to take in there, but again, we've been speaking about this in stream. We've been having constructive feedback, and there's been a lot of non-constructive feedback and people hating on people's opinion that didn't match their own. And I've been saying for the whole week, I've been saying this is feedback. It was a PTS. They're going to use your feedback to make changes. And I assumed that they'd be looking at recalibration. I assumed they'd be looking at costs. And I assumed they'd be looking at everything you guys were talking about as to what was wrong with it. This basically confirms this was never going to be perfect on launch, which is what we were saying. They are looking at making this perfect after launch and working on it over time, which I think is obvious to me. This was never meant to be, here's a product, whether you like it or not, deal with it. It's never like that, and they've never been like that. They want you to have fun on the game, so they've been able to make adjustments right away, and some of these are real big adjustments. So to recap, the escalation and prototype gear, what was really big about this is the increase in prototype gear drop rates. So that's going to be increased, and your reduced cost in upgrading is going to be 50% reduction in exotic components, which is the main one, but they've also done a 20% in other materials. So upgrading your gear now is going to be a lot more cheaper, and they're going to remove the requirement to have fully optimized gear when upgrading the prototype. I have no idea what that's going to look like, but that's huge, because that means you don't even need to max out to 30 expertise now. Oh, optimized gear. Ignore me. You will still need to get 30, but you're not going to have it fully optimized. Okay, sorry. Read that wrong. It's a tweak. So you don't need to have it fully optimized anymore. You just need to have it level 30, which is going to be cheaper. Still not perfect because you want recalibration, but they have said further down that they're going to increase the chance for a God Roll piece when you upgrade it, so it happens more regular. and they are in the future looking at prototype gear recalibration or equivalent. That just can't be from launch though. So that will be something that is planned for the future. And what that future is, I don't know. But judging by how they've like made changes to retaliation and stuff like that, I wouldn't be surprised if that came either within this season or even next season as soon as that. It's obviously targeted loot, and I'm not a developer. I don't know how easy they can make changes like this with the code and stuff, but it's not something that's going to come next week or the week after, but that's going to be their focus. So who knows? I don't think you're going to be waiting a year for it, is what I'm saying. It's going to be something that comes quick. And I do think that's answered every sort of complaint. Once they got the targeted loot, once they got the prototype gear recalibration, once they get all this out with the changes that they've done, I don't think there's a complaint left unheard. I don't think there is. And obviously when it comes out, there's going to be a lot more feedback, right? At the minute, we've had feedback from maybe early testers. We've had feedback from the PTS. On release day of this season, you're going to have everybody playing it giving all of their feedback. They're going to get so much more data, so much more feedback. So I wouldn't even see this as the end with all these changes. Like they've said, they'd say up here, I forgot what they said, but this is something that they're looking to work on throughout the year of year 8 and improve as they go. You know, this is just version 1. So version 1 comes with a lot of changes already. And in version 2, we'll hopefully have targeted loot prototype gear. And version 3, who knows?